Welcome back to Historic Coin Empire, the place where hidden treasures and everyday pocket change turn into legendary stories of discovery. And today we are diving deep into one of the most fascinating and mysterious coins in modern American numismatics, the 1988 Lincoln cent. A small copper-plated coin that in rare circumstances has been rumored, debated, and sensationalized as being worth up to $10 million because of extraordinary minting errors and astonishing transitional design. Varieties, and while such sky-high valuations depend on condition, authentication, and market demand, the story behind why certain examples of the 1988 1-cent coin can command breathtaking prices begins with understanding the history of the Lincoln cent itself. First introduced in 1909 to honor the 100th birthday of President Abraham Lincoln and designed by Victor David Brenner, whose initials VDB became the subject of controversy in the coin's first year. And since then, the Lincoln cent has gone through multiple design changes, including the wheat reverse from 1909 to 1958, the Lincoln Memorial reverse from 1959 to 2008, and later the Union Shield reverse starting in 2010. But in 1988, the coin still featured the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse and was produced at several United States mint facilities, including Philadelphia with no mint mark, Denver with the D mint mark, and San Francisco primarily for proof coins. And the Denver Mint struck hundreds of millions of 1988 D cents, most of which are worth only face value. Yet within that massive production run lies the possibility of rare varieties that ignite collector excitement. And the key to understanding how a 1988 D cent could reach extraordinary value lies in the subtle differences in design punches, die preparation, and minting transitions that occurred during the late 1980s when the mint was refining hub designs and mint mark placements, because during this era mint marks were still hand-punched into working dies, rather than being incorporated directly into the master hub as they are today, and this manual process opened the door for small but significant variations including repunched mint marks, misplaced mint marks, and even transitional reverse varieties. And one of the most talked about varieties associated with the 1988 series is the reverse of 1989 variety, sometimes referred to as the 1988 cent with reverse of 1989, a transitional error in which the reverse design intended for the following year was mistakenly paired with a 1988 obverse die, and this difference can be identified by examining the designer's initials FG on the reverse near the base of the Lincoln Memorial, where on the reverse of 1989 the initials appear farther from the base of the memorial compared to the standard 1988 reverse. And although the most famous examples of this transitional variety have been found on Philadelphia coins, the possibility of a Denver minted example adds an entirely new level of rarity and intrigue, because transitional design errors from branch mints are often rarer due to smaller die shipments and more limited cross-year mixing. And when collectors consider the combination of a Denver mint mark, transitional reverse, pristine uncirculated condition, and perhaps additional striking anomalies such as strong doubling or die misalignment, the theoretical value can skyrocket into the realm of 6 or even 7 figures at auction, and in speculative discussions amplified by media, headlines, and viral videos. Such coins are sometimes described as being worth millions, even $10 million, though in reality such prices would require extraordinary circumstances including a unique specimen, impeccable provenance, and intense bidding competition among elite collectors. Yet the foundation of such valuation claims rests on real numismatic principles, because in coin collecting rarity plus demand plus condition equals value. And if a coin combines multiple rare traits, its desirability multiplies dramatically, and in the case of the 1988 D cent, collectors scrutinized several potential errors including double die obverse, where the inscriptions such as Liberty or I in God We Trust show distinct separation due to hub misalignment during die creation, repunched mint marks where the D appears slightly doubled or shadowed because it was struck more than once into the die at slightly different angles, off-center strikes where the coin blank was not properly seated during striking resulting in part of the design missing, broad strikes where the retaining collar failed allowing the metal to spread outward, clipped planchets where a portion of the metal blank was missing before striking creating a curved or straight clip, and wrong planchet errors where a cent design might be struck on a planchet intended for another denomination. And while most of these errors individually might bring values ranging from tens to thousands of dollars depending on severity and condition, the dream scenario that fuels the legend of a $10 million 1988 D cent would involve a dramatic combination such as a transitional reverse paired with a dramatic double die obverse and preserved in near-perfect mint state condition graded MS69 or even a flawless MS70 by a top-tier grading service, because condition rarity plays a massive role in modern coin valuation. especially for coins struck in large quantities where most surviving examples show contact marks, weak strikes, or discoloration from circulation, and if a unique or nearly unique error variety were discovered in virtually perfect condition. Registry set collectors competing for the finest known examples could theoretically drive the price into unprecedented territory, and registry collecting has transformed the modern coin market by encouraging collectors to assemble the highest graded sets possible, often paying exponential premiums for single-point upgrades in grade, and when a coin becomes the sole top population specimen in a grading census, its value can soar far beyond traditional price guide estimates. And in the late 1980s, the composition of the Lincoln cent was primarily copper-plated zinc, a change implemented in 1982 to reduce costs due to rising copper prices, meaning the 1988 D cent has a zinc core with a thin copper plating, and this composition itself introduces the possibility of plating errors such as bubbles, blisters, or missing plating where the zinc core becomes exposed, and while minor plating flaws are common and usually not valuable, a dramatic missing copper layer error across an entire coin could increase collector interest, especially if combined with other rare traits, and die deterioration errors also appear frequently on late 1980s cents, sometimes creating a ghostly doubling effect known as machine doubling, which is not as valuable as true hub doubling but can still intrigue beginners, and distinguishing between machine doubling and true double dies requires magnification and experience, as true double dies show rounded, separated design elements, while machine doubling tends to produce flat, shelf-like distortions. And another factor contributing to high valuations in rare cases is the concept of wrong reverse pairings during die transitions, because when the mint introduces a new reverse design for a coming year, leftover dies from the previous year can occasionally be mixed or used accidentally, resulting in transitional errors that capture a snapshot of change within the mint's production timeline, and collectors treasure transitional errors because they represent historical anomalies that were never intended to exist. And if documentation confirmed that only a handful of 1988 D cents were struck with a reverse intended for 1989, and if only one survived in pristine condition, competitive bidding among wealthy collectors could theoretically push its price into extraordinary territory, especially if media attention amplifies its fame, and publicity plays a powerful role in modern numismatics, as seen with famous coins like the 1913 Liberty Head nickel or the 1943 copper cent, which achieved multimillion-dollar sales due to their rarity and storied backgrounds. And while the 1988 D cent is not in the same historical category, the psychology of scarcity combined with modern viral storytelling can elevate even relatively recent coins into headline-making treasures, and sometimes exaggerated claims of $10 million valuations circulate online as motivational hooks encouraging people to check their change. And although such figures are often speculative rather than documented sale prices, the underlying message remains true that rare mint errors can be worth significant sums. And for collectors examining a 1988 D cent closely, key diagnostic areas include the mint mark shape and placement, the spacing of the FG initials on the reverse, the clarity of the date digits, particularly the shape of the eights, and the sharpness of Lincoln's hair and beard, which can reveal die states and strike quality. And advanced collectors may compare suspected varieties under magnification to known reference images in numismatic catalogs, and authentication by reputable grading services is essential before assigning high value, because counterfeiters sometimes alter mint marks or attempt to simulate errors, and altered coins rarely withstand professional scrutiny, and the market for error coins is highly specialized, with values determined by auction records, collector demand, and condition rarity.